into cloud, somewhere in the cloud it will be. So hopefully it will work. So we're just waiting for a couple of more minutes for whoever wants to join to join. Okay.
Apologies. Got 2 dogs and the postman's just arrived.
Ah, oh.
So I'll just kick them out.
Okay. Are you working from home then?
I am doing what the government says, work from home when you can. So
yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, I think most people now at home, I'm at home, literally stuck in this shoebox all the time. Yeah, can I just ask as well, everybody, do we have parents or teachers here? What is the interest, basically? Alyona?
Teacher.
A teacher, okay. Svetlana?
I'm Russian school head teacher.
Okay, teacher.
Teacher. I'm director of Russian school.
Okay, director of Russian school. Which school?
It's Friendship in Kingston upon Thames.
Okay.
Supplementary school.
Where is it?
It's on Thames.
In London.
In London, yeah. It's supplementary school, yeah.
Okay. And then Tatiana.
I'm a teacher.
Teacher, okay. Then Olga.
All of our historical documents with date.
Okay, so I think the majority will be teachers probably, or head teachers, yeah? So people who actually going to do endorsement this year probably.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that's the main question that bugs me. Simon, I hope you can answer that one about the endorsement. Okay, so we're just waiting a couple of more minutes. Tatiana, Tatiana, and who are you? What do you teach, or are you a parent?
Yeah, I said I'm teacher.
Teacher. Larissa, thank you. Larissa. Larissa can't hear us. Anybody else who's not introduced themselves or didn't say who they are? Because there's people still arriving. Anybody else would like to say where they teach or what they do? Katya said, my name is Katya, I'm a teacher. Okay. Okay.
Hi, I'm a teacher. So.
Becky, nice to meet you. Sometimes the names are not the right names on the computer. So I know that David, for example, is not David, it's Svetlana. So if the name is incorrect, you can change the name on the, you can change your name basically into the true name. Okay, so people are still arriving. Okay. Oh, nice to see a video as well. So hello. Okay, can I just ask, everybody's okay with understanding English? Does anybody need help translating? Everybody's okay with English?
Yeah.
Okay.
К сожалению, я не понимаю английского.
Алена, да? Алена.
Да.
Okay, I'll be putting notes. I'll be making notes, and I think I'll also write notes in Russian on the Facebook page. Okay, Alena, are you on the Facebook page somewhere?
Спасибо.
I'll find you. Okay. Okay, so, well, I think we are good to go. So Simon, the majority of people are teachers.
Yeah.
So we'll take into account that we want to look at the exam from the teaching point of view and how we look at the exam from the point of view of teachers. There will be probably a couple of parents as well.
Саш, выключи, пожалуйста, нам важно.
Okay, so shall we begin, Simon?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to just to introduce myself?
Yes,
I'm not
please.
quite sure what your agenda is for today, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we can take it from there. I work for Tutors Exams. We're a private exam centre company. We've got 5 centres across the country: Bolton, Coventry, Wimbledon, Doncaster, and we've just opened one in Cambridgeshire in a place called St Neots. So we've got quite a lot of geographical coverage across the UK. All our centres are approved to deliver qualifications through JCQ, the Joint Council for Qualifications. In addition to our examination centres, although this won't apply to the audience here, but I'll just mention it anyway, we have a dedicated science laboratory based in Birmingham for A-level science practicals, and we also use another school in London. In 2019-20, we delivered assessments to over 2,400 learners. We cater for about 95% of all GCSE, GCE and iGCSE subjects, alongside functional skills. We have our own dedicated SEN advisor, and we also have our own dedicated NEA advisor as well. And we work in partnership with a number of distance learning providers and tutors, of which Russian Language Manchester are one of. And yeah, we also provide examination facilities to a growing number of universities to facilitate distance learning programs. In a nutshell, that's us. So let's take it from there.
Fantastic. So, and we all gathered here basically to speak about GCSE, A-levels, iGCSE, Russian specifically. Yeah. So foreign, modern foreign languages. And well, the number of questions that I personally have are all related to the endorsement.
Right.
Because I think there isn't enough information about how it's going to happen. I understand, and probably most people understand now, that there won't be a speaking exam in 2021 in the GCSE Russian, but there will be an endorsement instead in place of speaking part. So the question is, what is endorsement? How is it going to work? Who will conduct the endorsement? Who can conduct the endorsement? Should it be a teacher? Can it be a parent? Can it be somebody who you know who is Russian native? How is there any guidelines about that?
Okay, so let's just take one step back from there. So for 2021, as it stands today, now, I'm just going to tell you as we sit today, as you well know, there's a number of announcements coming out from the government. There's just been some in the last week, and I'll touch base on those in a minute. But as it stands today, and I'm just going to talk about A-levels first, there are no changes to A-levels. Mm-hmm. And so speaking endorsements will need to be completed face-to-face at the centre. That's how it stands for A-levels today, for us, for our candidates. For GCSE, and the first thing I would say is we're the exam centre, but you're the teacher teaching the course. So your technical queries really should go back to the examining board, whichever board you're teaching, be it AQA, Pearson.
Pearson. Yeah.
So you should really direct your inquiries back to them. But as it stands today, for GCSE, the boards are making it an optional component. But they do say that it would be better for the student to complete. That said, for us, and this is not just about Russian, but GCSE languages as a whole, they do have the option to opt out, but obviously the requirements or the preference is that they complete the component. But that's as it stands today. And again, that's pretty much all the information that we've got. The thing is that, you've just had in the last week, and I'm sure you've seen the briefings from the government, mm-hmm. where they've talked about, and Ofqual have also sent a number of announcements out where they've talked about making the exams, how can we put it, supporting the delivery of 2021 exams to ensure fairness. So they're going to be making some announcements in the early part of 2021 with regards to any particular changes that they are going to do to any particular subjects. So, and I'm just trying to pull out so I can quote exactly for you so that you've got it. Here we go. So the government sent out a briefing, a government guideline briefing, end of last week, under the guidance to support the summer 2021 exams. Mm-hmm. And of course, we know that they've all been moved back 3 weeks and they're going to be condensed into a very tight window. We know that. However, and I'm going to quote, the qualifications regulator Ofqual worked with the Department of Education and they're looking to get a briefing out at the beginning of January. So here we are. We recognise the disruption many students are experiencing and working with the awarding organisations to provide details of additional support to be provided in this exceptional year for A-levels and GCSEs at the end of January 2021. So, you know, our standpoint as an examination centre to anyone who asks is you just keep studying, but you must engage with the exam board. You know, they're the ones that will tell you what they are expecting you to do. And then we will carry out whatever instructions they give us. So if you're teaching Pearson in Excel, you've got to go to them to ask for clarification and guidance.
Okay, is there guidance on how to collect the data, if you like, for the endorsement? Should it be coursework? Should it be an interview? An informal interview? So there is no, because I couldn't really see any information on the Pearson website about that.
Right, so you need to speak directly to them to ask what they are looking for.
Right, so they don't comment on it yet. So maybe it will come. Okay, what happens? I've got some questions here lined up. What happens during the exam week if the student, the candidate, is unwell or has to quarantine?
Okay, so again, on the briefing that came out at the end of last week, and it's well worth going to the government website, so www.gov.uk, and they do press releases there. And in the one that I'm looking at, students who miss all exams in one subject, and then students who miss all exams, including the contingency paper. So I'm just going to go through, you've asked the question, so let's just go through. So if a student misses all GCSE or A-level assessments in a subject due to sickness related to corona, or need to self-isolate and is unable to access the special, don't bother taking notes. What I'm going to do is I will just forward these to you, Olga, so that you've got them, okay? Yeah. Or else you're going to be sitting there scrawling away. So I'll send over these two briefings that have come from the government so that you've got them there, okay? Because they're out there in the wider environment. So just bear with me a second on something. Just block off my phone here. I didn't block off my phone before I came on. Let me just do that now. We don't want to be disturbed. I'll sort that out. Right. So where were we? So in the event that a student misses all of their GCSE or A-level papers in a subject during both the, if a student with coronavirus needs to self-isolate or unable to access special consideration process, they will be eligible to sit a single contingency paper, okay? This will take place between the 28th of June and the 16th of July, and timetable to allow at least a 10-day gap after the subject's final paper. And work started already on writing this timetable. So in essence, if a student misses all of his GCSEs because of coronavirus self-isolating, there will be a contingency paper. They're being worked on now, and it will be at least 10 days, obviously, because if you're self-isolating, the gap provided so that then they can attend. But again, we're waiting on further information on that. So they're working with Ofqual to agree with exam boards what papers will be made available for each specific qualification. In most cases, it'll be one contingency paper will be provided per GCSE. And they're looking at whether there will be contingency papers in subjects that include non-examined assessments. So again, Olga and the audience here, there's a lot of fluidity at the moment with regards to what's happening. But that said, there is far more clarity now than there was a week ago. You know, it's very much geared towards exams are going ahead, and it's what processes they're going to put in place. So carrying on from the briefing, in every year, a small number of students have multiple papers scheduled for the same time. We won't need to touch on that. Students who miss all exams, including the contingency paper. So in the event that a student misses all of their GCSE or A-level papers in a subject during both the summer series and the contingency series with legitimate reason and does not have the required non-examined assessment elements required to access special considerations process, a validated teacher assessment may be used to award a grade. And again, further information will follow in the new year. So I'm going to get these briefings across to you, Olga, which I think we'll start to answer your questions in a general capacity without actually being able to provide you with the specifics at this moment in time, because we just don't have them at this moment in time. But what you can conclude is that there is a lot of work going on in the background between the Department for Education, Ofqual, and the examining boards to get something geared up and put in place. But I think it will be very helpful to you if I send you over both of these documents that have come from the government website, because it will provide you with a little bit of depth. Not a lot, but a little bit at this stage.
Yeah, I think the bottom line here is that for us, it's important as teachers to record all the work that we do with our students, with the dates, with the progression. So everything the students do needs to be recorded just in case, like it was last year. It kind of helped, didn't it? Quite a lot.
You know, absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, what is really, if your candidate was in a school, and I think we've got a number of teachers here from schools, they would be being assessed, marked, mocked. I mean, my daughter's just about to sit her A-levels in summer 2021, and she's just about to undertake a number of mocks in January. And it's having that, and going back to just touching on summer 2020, where we worked with you, it's having that depth of information, the depth to enable you to validate, study, academic attainment, to then be able to process that. So I think and that's very much, I mean, we put out on our Facebook page and through all our social media, carry on studying is very much keep studying, keep being assessed, keep making sure that you're being able to evidence.
Yeah, saving the record, saving the evidence. That's I think that's the key at the moment, isn't it? Okay. Another question, again, going to the GCSEs. Is there a frame, like a deadline for the endorsement to be submitted?
I'll find that out
for you as a center, say for example, a candidate comes to your center, they want to sit Russian GCSE, so they do the papers, that's quite clear, they've written the papers. What do you do about the endorsement part? What do you offer them? What do you suggest they do? Say they haven't had any tuition, and if let's take two eventualities, with the tuition and without tuition.
Right, okay, so again, what I will do is I'll speak to our NEA specialist about this, just to see what she has in place, what has changed since the last time we spoke, to make sure I give you the most up-to-date information. So I'll come back to you on that one.
Okay, I'll make a note. I'll make a note. And so what I guess I'm asking is how important it is to have the teacher, or can you just turn up at the exam? Say, for example, we've got lots of bilingual kids who are quite fluent in Russian. Maybe their parents tutored them. Maybe they just came to the UK recently and they did a number of years at the Russian school. So the Russian language is good enough to pass it, but they haven't got a tutor here. They haven't got a teacher. So therefore they haven't got any record of their progress of the language. How would you deal with
they're going to sit in the exam. So the exam will be the test. And for GCSEs, as I said earlier, with regards to the speaking endorsements, for GCSE, the boards are making it an optional component.
But will they not lose out if they don't have that component?
They do say it would be better, but they do say it would be better for the student to complete. That said, we are having applications coming in for GCSE languages, not necessarily Russian, where they are choosing to opt out, and there will be an opt-out form that they will need to complete. But again, if they've got any concerns, they should direct those concerns back to the awarding body first and foremost.
Why would they opt out though? if it's a disadvantage?
Because, well, no, I mean, it's an optional component for this year. That's what the boards have directed. So for GCSE, the boards are making it an optional component because of the workloads that students are studying under. So there's you know, this is part of what they're looking at as well with regards to how they can support candidates in a year where they've been so affected by COVID with their studies, or 2 years in that, in fairness. I mean, this started in what, March of this year, and it's going to go all the way through just because we are starting to be jabbed today. It's going to be, you know, it's a considerable operation to get 60 million plus people through 2 sets of jabs. You know, that's going to be, you know, it's going to be a while before normality arrives. So therefore, you know, there will still be interruptions to studies. So it's where the examining boards are trying to make it slightly more flexible for candidates. But again, and I hate to say this, but, you know, where you've got any specific questions regarding the examining boards and their requirements, it is always good to go back to the examining board. Okay.
Okay, Simon, if you have a look at the chat, there's some questions there as well. If you just check out those last 2 questions. So what if you have a private student, there are separate things, endorsement is indicated separately or not counted towards overall grade? I don't quite understand.
Sorry, it was me. One was a question and one was the actually a statement.
Okay, Katja, do you want to ask the question verbally then?
Yeah. So for example, I get quite a lot of parents asking us if we have students who are not part of our school, they just because they happen to be Russian, they will sit their exams.
Yeah.
As they will sit speaking, reading and writing, reading, listening and writing. What happens with speaking if it's been private, the child been privately tutored? Well, I answer to them is because it's an endorsement, it's not going to count towards their grade anyway. So basically it's the teacher who makes an assessment, right? For the endorsement, pass, merit or distinction.
But it's going to be optional for this, for GCSEs, it's going to be optional for this for 2021 anyway. So
so if we have a private student, like I teach at school, at a private school in Oxford, where we have non-natives students, there's learner candidates. They're going to sit normal exams as usual, but without the speaking, the speaking is taken out. However, as a teacher, I'm going to assess them in their speaking. I've got all the data I need, although the exam board does not require it, as I know that for a fact. They're not going to look at any evidence. You just, as a teacher, you give them for speaking pass, merit or distinction based on what you think, how well they're performing.
Right.
But private students won't have that data with me. I won't be able to assess them. I won't be able to give them a grade for speaking. So that's the question. What happens?
So they can come to us to do the endorsement, even though it's optional.
Right. Well, there you go. So that's the answer. Yeah. They come to you.
So they can come to us to do the endorsement. So if they book the exam, so they have to do the exam with us, and the endorsement is part of that of the process. So they would be able to come to us to do the endorsement for their exam. So they can, you know, if they book to do Russian with us and they need the endorsement done, then they do that endorsement with us.
Right, but do you know if the private tutor can provide the information for us, for me as a centre, which they can use to give them pass, merit or distinction?
So we would ask who you are. So with regards to the endorsement, we have a number of tutors available to us, and we may also choose to use a tutor if we can validate their qualifications and accept that as well. So it comes down to the individual candidate as well. You've got to understand that we have to assess everything, because we deal with people as a you know, as an exam centre where there is no relationship, so we have to. Sorry, what was?
Didn't hear the comment. Can you just repeat again? Maybe it was a mistake. It's all right.
Yeah, of course.
I think somebody just
came off. So it's a case of, they can do the endorsement with us. That's part and parcel of the process, and we will use a tutor to validate that. As the
I
exam
understand
centre.
this process, but do you have any information, say, from AQA in terms of if the private students want to sit the endorsement, can their private tutor be endorsing it? Do you have that info from Ofqual at all?
No, not to hand.
No.
Anyway, it would have helped if I'd had these questions in advance and I could have gone away and prepared rather than.
I think if you're sending if you're teaching a student, a private candidate, he goes to take the exam at a private center. I think it's such a convenience that the center actually provides the papers, the endorsement, everything. You just prepare for the exam. And the student.
No. I'm talking about a completely different thing. I'm talking about native students who come to private schools or just schools and they want to sit their GCSE this year. They are entered by our school as an additional candidate to my cohort, my usual cohort who are non-natives. My non-natives have been taught by me and I know their level and I give them the endorsement, I give them the grade. The student who is in our school, who sits the exam with our school, and I'm sure that there's a couple of other teachers who are like that, they sit the exams in our school, they sit writing, reading and listening. What happens with the speaking if they want to have the endorsement?
I think you probably.
To be honest, if they're sitting the exam in your school, that's down to. I can't tell you what they need.
I think
to do.
What happened in the
you need to go to the board themselves. You will need to establish that. It's not for me, because we have our own processes to validate within our candidates who are entered, but they're your candidates. So if you've got those questions, you need to be liaising with whichever awarding body you're dealing with.
I think it's the question whether the school will accept your endorsement or not, and also because I've been doing this as well for a number of years, and most schools are more than happy for you to actually come and examine when there were actually oral exams. I would come to the school. The school would be very happy that they have somebody to come and assess this spoken part. I'm sure they will be more than happy. Why not? Why would they go into trouble and trying to find somebody else to do it? Or why would they not give a student an opportunity to have an endorsement if they want to? I think the school.
No, I'm wondering, is this legal? Is me, who haven't taught the person, can I sign that person off without them sitting the exam, the speaking parts?
Yeah, but there is
can
no
the private tutor sign them off?
Of course, I think yes.
I can't comment on a process that sits outside
that was my question, but that's fine. I'll get in touch with the board.
Katya, I think you need to speak. So wherever these candidates are going to be entered, and whatever process you're looking to try and achieve, you need to speak to the exams officer of that school.
Yeah, no, I'm passing the exams officer's question, so it's fine. I've done my bit.
I know what the exams officer should know what process they're going to follow.
Because I thought that you've got a lot more experience. Like you're saying, so maybe you know the answer. Sorry,
shut the fuck up.
Oh, who's that?
Someone.
Okay, so I think.
Sorry for a difficult question.
No. I think, to be fair, you need to establish with the exams officer of the school what process they want you to follow. They should be your guide with this, and if they've got any concerns or any questions or queries, they should be going to the exam board as the exams officer of that school. That's my interpretation of that.
In the past, if we as private teachers were able to take exams, oral exams, why can't we do the endorsement? I think it's absolutely fine to do it. I don't see why not. If you are the teacher qualified and you're a native speaker, you are able to assess it, and I think why not, Katya? To your question, I absolutely don't see the reason why not.
I totally agree with you. I just wanted to know that it's legally, with the new rules, it's all legal.
Yeah,
So I think everybody is going to ask that had the same question. That's why I just asked it. But we need to wait for more clarification from AQA.
Yeah, but go through your exams officer at the school where you're teaching and you want to enter these candidates to get their steer on what you need to do or what needs to be done.
We have. They don't have this information. I just thought because you are representative, you'd know more about it. But
well, no. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a private exam centre, so we're just given the same amount of information as the exams officers have themselves. We all go to the same portal of information. And as I said to you right at the start, when I was going through these government briefings, a lot of it is quite fluid at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody? I think there's some more questions there. How students are entering. Anybody wants to actually say the questions? Svetlana, maybe?
Yes, please. I just want to clarify. As I wrote in my notes, our students are entering Russian GCSE in English schools. They normally attend, and also some of our students are going to be external students. So with English schools, I think we can actually provide endorsements directly to exam officer or someone from school which they attend. But with external school, I have an experience. I talked to one of schools who are happy to have external students, but say we kind of not sure because there's no information about endorsement, who is going to do endorsement. And so it will be nice to have kind of information or a paper saying that supplementary schools can give to English schools where children do set GCSE as
I'll stay on.
Similar question, isn't it? Similar question again about who does the endorsement, who can do the endorsement.
But again, it sits out. We just started an exam, so again, it's
difficult because
we should push this away.
My question.
Push this away. Your questions are very specific. We're an exam centre at the end of the day, and so we will process the candidates that are registered with us in the processes that we have agreed and will be able to get agreed, working in conjunction with the examining boards. Where these candidates, where these candidates are entered elsewhere, I can't. It's not right for me to comment on
I understand, Simon.
what isn't being done.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry, Simon. Sorry. I mean, I talked to Edexcel regarding the endorsement, and I was told we can, as a Russian school, provide the endorsement to English schools, but the English school, they have to, and they say it's between us and schools. So we need just kind of information to English school that they entitled to get. So is it anyone can provide this paper? Who can, because Edexcel said it's between us and schools. Schools cannot accept endorsements because they don't know are they allowed or not. So
it comes back to whatever.
Okay, in the summer, what happened in the summer? The exams didn't happen. Oral exam didn't happen. So I wrote about, I don't know, 7 letters to different schools confirming what the students' level of Russian was. And they were happy to accept it. They were like, thank you very much, brilliant. We now can give an estimate mark. And they all got the mark that I quoted, all private students. So I think that schools will be more than happy to accept your private teacher, private tutor's assessment and endorsement. So it could be, I know maybe you're asking how can it be done? I think what I would do is probably write a letter saying I'm such and such, teaching there and there, I'm teaching this person, I've been teaching this person from such and such date, and I can confirm that his level of speaking, in my professional opinion, is blah, 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 merit, distinction, etc. And I think if you want more evidence, I have evidence, or if you want more comments, I can provide more comments. Kind of, I think in a freestyle for now, unless they come up with some kind of a form to fill in or most schools don't have any forms. And in fact, one school said, we're not sure how to kind of present this information. I said, do you want me to ask another school to give you an idea? And it's like, yeah, please. So because the schools don't know, I think we need to also help and provide that information to them. I just wrote letters, kind of free written letters confirming the level. And I think you could probably do this year as well, next year, I mean, 2021. Yeah. So we'll just keep an eye on what Pearson's come up with, what maybe they'll come up with a form to fill in of some kind. Yeah. So in my opinion. But Simon, in your center, who does the assessment? Who does the endorsement? Do you have people who will do the endorsement?
We have people that we will do the endorsement. Yes. So in other words, what we do is that we have, so with the speaking, we will have, so if they want the speaking endorsement done, we will have people, depending on what language it is, who are geared towards being able to assess those candidates in the right environment to do the speaking endorsement to go alongside their exams. And that's the process that we have. It's all coordinated through our NEA coordinator, and that's our process. We would have validated and already clarified with those people who will be assessing. They're people that we have relationships with. So
who are those people? Are they teachers?
They're teachers. They're tutors. They are fully qualified, and they've already been approved. They previously worked with us anyway in the years where this has happened, as opposed to the year that it didn't happen. And that's the process that we use, and it's all coordinated through our non-exam assessment team.
So what you can do, the tutors, what the tutors could do, you could approach the school. You could say, I'm a Russian teacher. Here are my qualifications. Here are my degrees. I'm a native speaker. I'm happy to do endorsement in your school for any of your students. And that's it. And I think the schools will be more than happy. You can email the exam officer directly. I've already done so to a couple of my students. And everybody was happy with that. Because at the end of the day, who is doing the exams? Who is doing the endorsement? It's the teachers, isn't it? It's not gods. It's us.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the key thing to take away from this, from all of you that have that sort of similar question, where you're working in conjunction with schools, is and exactly what I was saying there is engage with them now and tell them who you are and find out what they want from you to make it work. That's the key thing. It's December. You've got time on your side, but actually find out what they want from you by way of being able to do an endorsement. Should that be what is required? But engage with those schools, like Olga has said. At the end of the day, I'm sure they don't have a huge number of Russian-speaking teachers on their books.
Exactly.
We offer, I think it's 24 languages. Now, don't get me wrong. When it comes to French, Italian, Spanish, we kind of have there's a bank of tutors almost. But when you get down to some more specific ones, you're very grateful for the expertise that people with those language qualifications bring to the table. I guess from our point, if I just say to you, if we just reverse this slightly, because you're asking the question as a tutor going to a school. Now, we're not a school, we're an exam centre. But if we're working in conjunction with someone like Olga, so if we needed in Bolton to have a speaking assessment done for a candidate in Russian, we would look at who we've got and we'd go, well, we work in partnership with Russian Language Centre Manchester, Olga. Let's speak to Olga and let's see what we can get organised, because at the end of the day, what we want to achieve is that any candidate that comes to us can get through the process that is required to get the grade in August. He says August because that's normally when they produce the grades, but in August. So that is our process. I can only tell you from what we do. But so when we get somebody that comes to us and wants to do speaking in, one of the much less popular subjects. And it has been known that we've had to go out and engage with the wider community to find the right qualified language speaker. And then trust me, once we find you,
you get hold. Never
we
let
don't
go.
let go.
Yeah,
because if we find someone who is highly qualified, very capable, and able to deliver speaking endorsement, fantastic. That's why we're able to offer 24 languages, because we have found those people. And flipping it the other way, what you've probably got, you're wanting to enter candidates and there's going to be an element of speaking involved. And the exams officer probably doesn't know where to go with it. So get in touch, do what Olga says, get in touch, engage with the exams officer and find out what they want. And even if they're not quite sure at the moment what they want, get them, tell them what your qualifications are and what your level of capability is, so that when they know, they may well be able to come back to you at that time. But it's key to engage at this very specific moment in time, I would say so, with regards to trying to get a process agreed.
Yeah. And when it comes to the actual endorsement, I think I've read somewhere, I can't remember now exactly in which document, but it said that it could be just a very informal conversation about any topic, because more or less after a few minutes, you understand whether the person can or cannot speak the language, foreign language. So in terms of, you can even almost create your own process. It just says there is no guideline as to how to conduct the endorsement itself. It doesn't even have to be a particular day or time. It could be throughout the whole year. As you teach, you get an idea of your students' capability. And that will give you an idea of what grade to give, not grade, because it's not graded, isn't it? So what level to give to the students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's almost, so, and Katja, I've just seen your next quote. I say it's popped up. I'll just come to that in a second, because again, we're waiting for further guidance on that. But it's a case of, it is clarity is required where it is needed. And so therefore you can't make any assumptions in advance of that, but establish the communication with regards to where your candidates are sitting and who the exams officer is and what they might want from you. And then Katja, you've asked, do you know more information about how the exams will be reformed, anything language specific, what units will be taken away, will dictionary be allowed? For summer 2021, and again, I mentioned this earlier, they will be releasing further information in January as it stands with regards to what that will look like. And I'm just trying to find.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question again as well.
Yeah,
how exactly it will affect modern languages, because some exams are more task-based, project-based, and languages. Well, we don't know yet.
Bear with me, because I've tried to hold as much information on my system in advance that I could help you with. So,
yeah, there will be something, but whether it will be dictionaries, whether it will be less, instead of 5 topics, 3 topics, I don't know, but
so here
there
will
be something.
So this is from the government, and again, we propose giving students and schools advance notice in most subjects of some of the topic areas that will come up in the exam ahead of the exam itself. This would allow revision and teaching to be more focused without unduly undermining the validity of exams, of course. It means students can get their heads down and use their study time as best they can. We anticipate, and that's a great English word, because it means it might happen, it might not. We anticipate being able to pre-announce the subjects and topics in January 2021. So Katja, in answer to your question,
just expecting, waiting for the January. Yeah.
You guys have to, that's when they anticipate. So again, unfortunately, there's an awful lot of waiting, but I think we have to trust that there's going to be clear. My concern for you guys is how do you get this information if you're not based in mainstream school? I mean, obviously for Olga, I send you a lot of information. You get it on our newsletters now because you're a learning partner. And as we get information, we do throw it out there very quickly to all our learning partners, etc., to say, you know, this is the latest updates. Because at the end of the day, quite often it's a case of we find out when you find out.
Yes.
Which is why for some of these questions today, I'm afraid I don't have the answer.
But we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye, and I will update this information as well on Facebook page, on the GCSE and A-Level Russian Facebook page.
You get the information from us. So again, I'm going to send you these 2 emails.
As soon as
it gives you quite a lot of information in there, which you might want to just put out there. They're from the Gov website, so you know it's all stuff that's out there. So there's nothing radical there, and it's just clarification. Hang on, who's this? So Tanya.
Okay. There is a very good question here, Simon, about A levels. So this my son's college couldn't accommodate him.
Yeah, I'm reading.
So I think this is a perfect question for you, because when a school or a college says no,
come to us.
Then come to Simon.
Come to us.
Exactly.
Come to Choosing Exams. We're a private exam centre. We do A-level Russian. End of. Register to take the exam with us and engage with our NEA team with regards to any speaking assessments as it's A-level. But absolutely, that one's easy to answer.
And I must say, in the summer when there was like hectic situation, everybody was like tearing their hair out, your centre went ahead with all the exams with A levels, and I examined over Zoom, and I actually vigilated, and I sat in the exam room in Zoom. And everything went ahead, everything happened. Students got their grades, and it was brilliantly organized, I must say. Not all schools, most schools, in fact, got lost, didn't they? They got a bit panicky and got lost.
Two things there. Firstly, I had more hair than you in March. That's what the summer season did to me. Secondly, we so obviously there was, I mean, this was summer 2020. This has been and gone, but what we were able to do, and again, this is where it comes back to, and sometimes you have to now. Olga's a learning partner with us, so we work very closely with our learning partners. So when exams didn't go ahead in the summer of 2020, we were able to engage with the Department for Education, with Ofqual, with all the examining boards to get a process agreed for private candidates, which worked. Testament. We engaged with well-qualified individuals who were able to support us in subjects to get candidates the grades, not necessarily the grade they wanted, but a grade from their studies. And we're very passionate about that. So in an example providing Tanya, to everyone, I don't know where that where unfortunately my son's college could not accommodate, but providing he's near one of our centres, book online with us, and we'll engage with him with regards to getting his A-levels sat for Russian in the summer. We're an exam centre. That is what we do.
Yes, and also about exam centres in general, I get lots of students now from all different parts of the UK, from Ireland, from Scotland, well, from everywhere basically. And sometimes there is no centre nearby. The school doesn't want to accommodate the candidate. And parents are trying to find what to do in this situation. And some people even traveled, they're willing to travel far distance to be able to take the exam. So if there is a will, there is a way, basically. Just need to find out and if you just say what centres you have.
I'm just looking at, so someone's talking about Glasgow. I don't know who these people are in Glasgow, but you're based in Surrey. So we have an exam centre in Wimbledon. Now, I live down in West Sussex, so I know Surrey to Wimbledon is not a million miles away by any stretch of the imagination. So if your son wants to sit A-level Russian, then get in touch with go onto the Tutors Exams website and get in touch with our Wimbledon team, and they'll be able to talk you through what you need to do.
And you have
not a problem.
Durham as well, don't you?
No, so Doncaster.
Doncaster.
So we've got Doncaster and you're going to see this back to front, but we've got Doncaster in the northeast, Bolton in the northwest, Coventry pretty much in the middle of the country, Wimbledon in South London, and we're just opening St Neots in Cambridgeshire to pick up pretty much the sort of Lincolnshire, Norfolk, Suffolk area. So you don't need to go all the way to Glasgow from Surrey. Come to us at Wimbledon. You will need to, sorry Tanya, yes, you need to travel to sit the exam. Yeah, because as it stands, exams are going ahead, so you will need to sit. So
and
yes.
is it 3 times you need to travel?
Depends how many papers there are for whatever you're studying.
So
but
for A level, it's 3 times, I think.
3
it's
times,
speaking, reading, and listening, and then. Is that right? Oh, maybe GCSE 3 times. Well, anyway, not once. You'll need to come.
So what I would very much suggest there, Tanya, is, to be honest, www.tutorsexams.uk. If you go onto our website, there's a contact us link there. Direct it to Wimbledon. Explain what your situation is, and the team there will come back to you very promptly and let you know what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we can help. That's it, for sure.
Yeah. Can I just also ask if anybody hasn't got any more questions? I've got one question about iGCSE.
All right. Yeah.
And GCSEs. What is the main difference? What's the difference between
the main difference, fundamentally, if you just talk about GCSEs and iGCSEs, coursework. Okay. So iGCSEs don't have coursework elements to it. That's why they're popular with private candidates. The electively home educated, because at the end of the day, so for example, you don't have any practical elements at iGCSE. It removes that additional what you would take for granted in mainstream education. So, and I'm not just talking about Russian, I'm talking about sciences. It removes that practical element. So it's a linear based head down study sit exam. There's no additional elements to it.
In terms of weight, when you apply to a university, does the university, do they look at it differently, or are they exactly the same, treated exactly the same?
As they are iGCSE, GCSE, they are the same level of qualification, but it's a bit like the formula for Coca-Cola. I couldn't tell you what the examining boards at, I don't know, Bristol University look at to decide. But at the end of the day, it's an international GCSE qualification, and it is very much geared for those that do not or do not tend to access mainstream education. And at the end of the day, they are still a GCSE, albeit it's an international GCSE. So
Okay, and the Russian GCSE, the examination board, I think, is Cambridge. They are stopping the exam. In 2021,
Cambridge will be. That's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that. Check.
Yeah, they are definitely stopping. Okay. Yeah, but the question is there anything else? Are there any other examination boards that offer iGCSE Russian?
Well, iGCSEs are offered by period Cambridge International and Pearson EdXL. They're the two that offer iGCSE.
Yeah, they don't. Pearson EdXL don't offer
iGCSE Russian.
They don't offer.
They're the two examining boards. That's it.
Okay, so after this year, there won't be iGCSE Russian then.
If they're not being offered by the two main boards that do Russian, then unless someone changes their mind,
well, unless
you've got very much. It's Pearson and Cambridge are the two iGCSE, up on my teeth in iGCSE examining boards. Okay, so it's down to those two.
Because also I was going to mention that for the tutors here, a lot of us get bilingual students, and sometimes, well, I think GCSE is way too easy for them. It's the exam, it's a foreign language, first of all. Yeah, GCSE is a modern foreign language. So if you're bilingual, if you recently in the UK, it's not really strictly speaking the exam for you then. It's the exam for those who learned Russian from scratch as a foreign language. So I think iGCSE is more suited for bilingual children because it's a bit more difficult. It doesn't have a spoken component because they presume you speak because you're native. Well, like you said, it has the same weight and it's a lot cheaper. It's considerably cheaper if you're taking it privately, isn't it? So if for example, if anybody's got a student who is bilingual recently in the UK and they need to sort out their GCSEs, I think while there is a chance, there's an opportunity. Last year, 2021 is the best option would be iGCSE for all those reasons, I think. Another question I asked you, Simon, recently, but I'll repeat it because for many years I've been teaching Russian. I had no idea that you didn't have to have GCSE before you could do A-level Russian.
No, you can just
because I thought you have to do GCSE first. And then
no, and that applies to pretty much anything. You know, I mean, you could go and do A-level psychology, not having done GCSE psychology.
Right. Well, this is
A-level
very
Russian, just plow in there. Yeah, there's no prerequisite. It doesn't say for A-level Russian that you have to have done GCSE Russian or iGCSE Russian. No, just plow straight in there.
That's brilliant, because again, for bilingual kids, sometimes GCSE is pain to do. It's like, oh, it's so easy. Why would I do it? So just go straight to A-levels.
Just go straight to A-level.
Yeah.
It's all about academic attainment, isn't it, at the end of the day, you know? So if you're clever enough to be able to just go straight in it, well, especially if you are bilingual, just able to go straight and do it. Don't hold back. There's nothing there that
don't
says,
waste time on GCSE.
Don't waste time. Don't have to tick one box to then progress. You know, you don't have to, tick box A to go and do box B. You can go straight in and do box B. There's no prerequisite with A-level Russian that you have to have sat it at GCSE level. Is there
an age restriction?
No.
The only reason why I'm asking is because you have to, for A-level Russian, you have to read certain books, literature, and watch certain films, and they are quite adult.
Okay.
The questions which are discussed there are like adultery, quite adult things.
Well, okay. So there's two parts to that, really, isn't there? If it comes down to the Russian itself, so as an exam centre, we have no age limit. Okay, so lower or upper end, for that matter. We have candidates who are older than me, believe it or not, who come in and sit exams. So, and we have very young candidates. So there is no age restriction with regards to coming to choosing the exams to sit an exam. Okay, providing that there is the right level of if you've got a young candidate, they need to be accompanied, etc. Child welfare issues, but there's no restriction on age. It will be down to the tutor. So to come and sit the exam, there's no restriction. It's down to the tutor to decide two things. Is it appropriate? And probably just to check with the examining board that they haven't got a restriction on age. But as an exam centre, we don't, if you want to come and sit an exam that we offer and you're 12, fantastic, come and sit it. I take my hat off to you. I was struggling with my O-levels, and that carbon dates me. I was struggling with my O-levels, let alone at 16, let alone trying to do anything early, goodness me. But yeah, so there's we have no age restrictions. It's just down to you as the tutor. Is it the right thing? And if they are particularly young, check with the examining board that they don't have an age restriction either. That's one quick phone call.
Okay, that's really good to know as well.
There's no prerequisite for A-level that you have to have sat at the GCSE. No, just get straight in
there. And I have another question, last one from me, about clashes of the exam.
Clashes, yes. Gosh.
Yes, because obviously the exams are moved 3 weeks. They all jammed in.
Oh, they are jammed.
They are jammed.
Window. Boom.
Yes, and obviously the whole country, they all do the same exams on the same day.
Yeah.
Regardless which school you go, which center you take exams at. What happens if you have a clash?
Okay, that's very easy to answer from our point of view, because again, that's what we do. We administer exams. So Olga, you come to me to sit Russian, maths, and English. And on a given day, the Russian paper and the maths paper are both in the morning, but you've got nothing in the afternoon. So what we will do is we will move one of those papers to the afternoon. So you will sit the maths in the morning and the Russian in the afternoon. But once you've sat the maths paper, you will be supervised so that you can't access social media, etc., etc. You will be supervised, and then you will start your exam after your break in the afternoon, as if you were sitting it in the morning, i.e. you've had no contact with the outside world, you've had no contact with social media. You can do some last minute studying. There's nothing to stop you doing that with your revision papers, etc. But yes, so we would manage that. And that's a really good question. So something I would say to all of you listening with regards to where do you book your exams? And of course, I'm going to say this because we are an exam centre. But what you need to be really careful of is if you book your Russian with us and your maths with somebody else, and there's a clash, and you've got a 30-mile gap, how is that going to work?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Yeah,
that's a difficult one, because at the end of the day, you move away from being supervised. So what you would, and again, it's wrong for me to, but at the end of the day, if you're not under constant supervision, you can't go from sitting a one paper in that centre to going all the way over to a different centre to sit a different paper. So it becomes quite important, again, with regards to making sure that if you're sitting multiple exams in a condensed exam window, that you're probably doing it in one place, i.e. whether you're doing it in a school. Because of course, if you're in school, you're in mainstream education, it doesn't matter, is it? You're marched into the sports hall, you marched out of the sports hall, and you marched back in again in the afternoon. That's how it is. But if you're a private candidate and you're sitting different exams in different places and there's a clash, you have to make some decisions.
As teachers, we need to find out what other exams they're doing on which days.
It would be worth checking that out, especially because at the end of the day, we are, so if we've got a candidate with us who's sitting, as I've said earlier, say 2 or 3 exams, and there's a clash on a given day, and we can move one to the afternoon, we will do that. So they will sit, and they generally tend to sit the most popular paper in the morning. So that might be the mathematics, sorry, Russian candidates, but maths does significantly outweigh Russian. They'll sit the maths in the morning. We will supervise them afterwards until it's appropriate timings for them to then sit the exam, the Russian exam that they were going to sit in the morning, in the afternoon. But that's what we do. That's our job. We are an exam centre. We coordinate your exams that are booked with tutors and exams to make it work for you to the best of our ability. So what happens is you come to us, say you're going to book online for 3 different exams. We'll take your booking, you pay for us, we'll program everything. And then at a given point when the exam timetables are all out and processed and we enter it, and we see that we look for the clash, we see you've got a clash, but we'll only know if you've got a clash with another exam that you're sitting with us. But we see that you've got a clash, we will be in touch straight away to say, right, Olga, you've got a clash on the morning of Tuesday. You obviously can't sit, but you are free in the afternoon. So what we need to do, and this is what we're going to do. And we that's part and parcel of what we do as an exam centre. That is part of our bag, as they say.
Yeah, and we anticipate quite a lot of clashes in 2021, isn't it? Because of this move.
Well, it's all condensed into, as you've already pointed out, apart from there's a bit of English and maths just before the half term, but everything else is then condensed into a 3-week window in June. Well, if you just think about the autumn series that we've just sat, that was laid on, especially where we had the A levels followed by the GCSEs, that started at pretty much the beginning of October. Finished pretty much towards the end of November. It just seemed to go on forever.
Yeah.
It did seem to go. I mean, every day was an exam day almost, and because we offer a wide variety of papers, exam boards, etc., it just seemed to go on for forever, which is great. That's fine. That's what we do. We invigilate exams. But if you think that was the autumn and it went on for the best part of 7 weeks, I think it was, we're gonna crunch everything into 3. There could be some clashes. There will be some clashes.
Right. Well, and finally, well, we just got a couple of minutes left. If anybody has got any more questions or any clarifications,
do you often sit mock exams at your centre? Yes, we do. All of our centres. We tend to sit our mock exams in the spring. So each centre has their own specific window for doing it, but generally towards the end of March, we sit mock papers for exams. And when you book online with us, as you work your way through the application, and it is quite a detailed application because we need to know a lot of information, there's actually a question saying, do you want to sit a mock exam for this paper? So we actually ask you whether you want to sit a mock. So yes, is the answer to that question? Very much so.
Okay, anybody else has got any questions? Maybe your personal situation, something that you're not quite sure about? No. So about mock exams.
So we've talked about A-level Russian.
A-level Russian, iGCSEs.
We've talked about clashes. We've talked about sitting. Yeah. So.
There is one problem that many candidates have is when their school don't offer Russian.
As an exam?
As an exam, yeah, they don't offer Russian. They don't want to offer Russian. And to me, sometimes, maybe you, Simon, know the answer to this magical question. If they already do Pearson French, Pearson German, why not add Russian? Because as far as they're concerned, for them, it's just an admin work. Maybe I don't understand something, but why would the school refuse?
Well, that's very difficult for me to say. What you have, if in schools you have, again mainstream curriculum, don't you? So they offer core subjects and then additional subjects based on what they perceive as being able to teach the level required. Where we come in as a private exam centre is that your school might not offer, we are an exam centre. If you want to sit Russian as an exam, come to us, because that's what we do. And when I say come to us, one of our 5 centres, and of course I hope that we're geographically close enough for you to one of those. But that's why you have private exam centres who offer alternative papers for exams. I mean, we have Arabic, Urdu. We have a huge, I think it's, as I say, 24 languages that we offer. Now, I know for a fact schools don't offer 24 languages because they're teaching it as well. What you have to remember, of course, is they're teaching as well. We offer the exam. So we're the, not quite the end point, because the end point is your certificate in August, or your grade in August, followed by your certificate when it's produced. But we are the facilitator of the exam. So we can provide that for you. That's what we do. We're not involved in the teaching of it. But if you need to come and sit your exam, and we offer that exam.
Yeah, it's very useful. It's very useful to know, because on the Pearson website, there is a list of private exam centers, but a lot of the information there is so out of date.
Yeah.
You contact them, you email them, can you, do you accept Russian? And most of them will say no, or they'll be like, oh, I know there is such and such center does Russian and it's not on the list. So the list that Pearson provides is completely, should be scrapped altogether. So it's good to know that there is a center that has many different locations. But you know what, you need one near Wales as well, Cardiff way, because there's nothing there.
The Welsh board is very different. And as you already know, of course, they've decided not to do things in the summer of 2021.
Oh, yeah,
so we're very much an English-based exam centre at the moment. However, we always look, and we know that we need to go a little bit further west, and we are looking next year, not necessarily, but in the southwest. But at the end of the day, that's what we are, an exam centre. That's what we do. So at the start, when you were asking all these highbrow questions about what do schools do, etc., that's not what I can help you with, because I can't tell you what schools do and don't do. What we are, though, is an exam centre offering the capacity for you to be able to sit your exams. And we know what we're doing. We've been doing it for 6 years. When it comes to things like clashes, etc. Charles, my son's 16 in January. He wants to do GCSE and psychology independently. Can he do it at your centre in summer 2022? Well, absolutely, Charles. If he wants to do GCSE psychology, he can do that. He can sit the exam with us. Absolutely. One of our 5 centres by 2022. Who knows? There might be a 6th one somewhere. But absolutely, providing that, of course, that exam is available. So as long as that exam is available and we're able to offer it, come to us. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay. Well,
pressure from teachers who teach bilingual. That's okay.
But yeah, so all the
questions around exams and sitting them, etc. That's exactly what we're here to help with. Definitely. I'm afraid when it comes to highbrow things like what exam boards are up to and what the government's up to, I'm afraid we kind of know as much as what you guys know.
We'll keep an eye.
As soon as we find out any more, we always get that information out as soon as we can.
Thank you. Yes, we'll keep an eye all together, and we'll keep you up to date what's happening with regards to the reforms, etc. So thank you very much, Simon, for your time.
It's my pleasure. I hope I've answered at least a few of the questions. I know we can't be everything to everybody, but hopefully there's at least a few of you there it's cleared some of the mists away, if not all of it. But one message would be engage with your schools who who are going to be hosting your candidates. That's a definite for
fantastic, sure. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I'll send those 2 emails across to you, Olga, and I'll keep you in touch with everything with all the information that comes through that we get, so that you know what's going on. And we'll forward it. Yeah, brilliant. I'll send some stuff over to you now. Thank you. Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely afternoon, everybody. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye.